The next speaker is a man who I have received a lot of support, guidance from throughout my career in Gujarat. He's a Gujarat Cadre IS officer of 1989 batch. But please make no mistake that he's also an electrical engineer from MNIT, Allahabad. He's also done his CFA from ICSA, Hyderabad in 2002. 2004, he did his master's in law and economics from WTI Bern, and he's a law LLB graduate also in 2007 from Gujarat University. He's incidentally also the Chief Executive Officer of Renewable Energy Adani Group. Before this, he was the MD of Reliance Infrastructure. Please join me in welcoming him appropriately as he has to deliver the success mantras to you. Please welcome Mr. Jayant Parimal.
It is indeed a great pleasure to be here amongst all of you to discuss the financing aspect, or rather innovative financing aspect of solar. Maybe we are not the correct person to talk about innovative financing because these are the targets for which the government has fixed for different years. As we speak, we have a portfolio of around little over 2 gigawatts, and therefore, assuming that we'll reach 20 gigawatts in this year, we are contributing approximately 10%, and we are trying to maintain that ratio, but unfortunately things have really got hot and we are unable to meet, so we are trying to understand ourselves how to finance it innovatively. Anyway, so currently this is how we are organized. We have solar PV plants which are ground mounted, which are predominantly on build and operate, and we are also in a small way in the EPC, but mostly for our own modules, because we are also the country's largest solar PV panel manufacturer. We have 1.2 gigawatts of solar manufacturing facility, which is the largest facility in India and one of the largest grassroots at one go facility in the world, and where we manufacture 1.2 gigawatts of cells and 1.2 gigawatts matching capacity of the panels. The plant has become operational and it is ramping up. So with those panels, we try to do some EPC for NTPC and SECI and some state-based entities. We are also into solar PV parks. We have signed a MOU with Government of Rajasthan, wherein we have a 50-50 JV with Government of Rajasthan to set up 10,000 megawatt equivalent solar parks. Of that, 2,000 megawatts is under construction, of which a 500 megawatt has already been bid out by SECI. So a lot of progress has been made. And similarly, we are attempting to do a 10 to 15 gigawatt equivalent solar park in the state of Gujarat. We are trying to get land from government, and we are sure in next few months we'll get that land, and we'll try to make a large hybrid solar park there. We are also in the wind power projects, wherein we do turnkey projects with OEMs and partially developed sites as well as greenfield sites. We don't have very large portfolio, modest portfolio of 200 megawatts, and we are trying to ramp it up. So maybe in future we'll ramp it up, and we are happy to note that now SECI has taken the mantle of bidding out new CTU-based wind PPAs, and in the last bid of 1 gigawatt we did participate and got 50 megawatts there, and we'll be participating in the future bids as well. And apart from this, we have a manufacturing arm, which is not mentioned here. It is only the generation wing which is mentioned here. So this is what we are doing currently, and we are aligned with the national priority of a greener India. And we have developed this 2 gigawatt project pipeline within a period of less than 2 years. And we built the world's largest solar power plant of 648 megawatt AC, 778 megawatt DC in the state of Tamil Nadu, which as on today stands the largest plant in the world. And the whole plant was done in less than 12 months' time. So right from acquiring land from the private party to setting up and connecting it at 400 kV network. So this is the portfolio which we have as of now, of which approximately 900 megawatt are operational, 1322 balance are under implementation. They will be up and running by October. And you can see we are practically in all the states, several states, and we are actively participating in all the Government of India initiatives. We have, our success is driven by 4 key strengths: rapid execution and cost-effective O&M, and also financing for large-scale infrastructure for it. And we also have our transmission wing, which is listed, very good listed company. So we have good transmission evacuation capability also, and we have scale-led procurement. So these are the 4 driving factors which has led to 2 gigawatts or more than 2 gigawatts of solar in less than 2 years. Now coming back to non-traditional financing option, as of now we are doing pure simple project financing, wherein we bring our equity and then approach the different Indian financial institution and foreign banks to finance it as a debt. Typical 70-30 ratio or max 75-25. But as has been mentioned, the Indian power sector is already heavy. I mean, it's already heavy on the bank balance sheets, and we do find sometimes resistance from the financial institutions to fund further solar power, and they still treat solar as a part of power, and they see similar risk profile in case of solar, although that may not be true. As a federation and various industry body, we have been advocating to take out renewable power from conventional power and have a separate sector for renewable, but unfortunately till date we have not been very successful in that. As a result, we do face issues while getting a traditional simple bank finance. But that is how we have been financing all our projects. And because these all projects are very time-bound, 12 months, 13 months, and the financial closure do take time. So what we do is that as a group, on the basis of the group's strength, we keep on executing the project, and parallelly, as and when the project finance comes, the group's resources are withdrawn and the financial institutions' resources are utilized. This is how we are executing the project, but there is a limitation to this model. And therefore, we have been looking at, and now a lot of our projects have gone into O&M mode. So the time has come that we take out the Indian banks from these mature operating projects and free them up their capital to finance new projects. So with that objective in mind, we have been evaluating multiple options. All of them are well known to you: the simple US dollar bonds and the masala bonds and InvIT. US dollar bond we have successfully utilized in our transmission, and significant pool of liquidity is available, which prices the infrastructure debt at appropriate post development of the project. It releases the Indian bank from exposure of the sector and allows them to fund new projects. Infrastructure assets are more suited for better credit rating compared to other industries, and long-term money is available. And we have been successful. Last year we have raised, not for renewables, because renewable is pretty new and we need 1 or 2 years of operating history before we get into dollar bonds. So maybe either in 2017 end or 2018 we'll attempt something similar for the solar. We did attempt for our transmission business the same thing, and we have already raised $500 million of dollar bonds for our Adani transmission, and it is a senior secured bond, 10-year maturity, and interest rate as we speak is 4% all-inclusive dollar. And you will appreciate that it was 10 times oversubscribed when we went into financing, and it was 10-year maturity, and that to bullet payments. So all the people who understand finance, they will find it very attractive. And this is the kind of fund which is needed to take care of solar projects also. Solar projects are 25 years, and if we are able to raise this kind of finance in the dollar bond, it will be a great help. At 4% or 4.5%, even after hedging, it will be 9.5%, and that too with bullet repayment. It's pure winner, and we'll approach to something similar in that. And there is a significant depth in the market, and market understands the renewable business very well. Only thing is that we have to show them some 1 or 2 years of consistent operating history in terms of performance, plant performance, and also in terms of no backing down and regular payment. So this is why we have been insisting on good quality assets in different discounts, and we have been requesting discounts and others to not back down. Unfortunately, sometimes incidents do happen, like in state of Tamil Nadu, which mars all these things, and then it becomes very difficult to utilize the foreign bonds for such projects. So this we have done, and we are attempting to do that in future, and you will find it attractive. Then we also attempted in our masala bond, again in our transmission company. This is a new instrument for raising money outside market in INR, so you don't have currency risk here. Significant interest from investors looking for Indian paper but not able to invest in Indian market due to various reasons. Take out the US dollar risk from the issuer because our all revenues are INR, and if we raise dollar bond, we are exposing ourselves to long-term exchange risk. Again, INR masala bonds are long-term money, and they can further act as a slice instrument. So we went for a 500 crore issue size. It was one of the first, apart from NTPC, nobody had done. This is all senior secured bond. It is a 5-year maturity bullet repayment, investment grade issue, and we have been able to get an interest rate of approximately 9.1%, and this was issued last year. I am sure now we'll be able to do even better. Again, on the renewable side, we'll be attempting to do all these things next year once we have 1 or 2 years of operating history of the plants, because it is necessary to show them operating history, and we need investment grade. Unfortunately, the Indian credit rating agencies, they don't rate you in investment grade unless they have seen you 1 or 2 years of good performance history and payment history. So maybe next year we will, all our current plants, although they are operating since last 1 year, they are rated only triple B, and we have to get into A grade. Then only we'll be able to get these kind of rates. The transmission company is an old entity. They have a lot of performance history, so they have been able to get the investment grade. Now after that, this InvIT is a new one, which has been talked about since last 4 or 5 years, but nothing really happened. Only last year, the finance minister brought out some amendments which were necessary for successful InvIT, and therefore the first InvIT of IRB was floated. Similar to highly successful and liquid yield investment instrument of the yield code, which is there in US. In India, I am to hold developed assets with demonstrated operating experience, stable cash flows, assets with investors looking for low-risk investment revenue, and these are suitable for all infrastructure assets like highways, transmission, solar generation, pipeline, railways, airport, etc. It allows both development equity capital and project finance capital to channel back in the new project. First entrant is IRB, which had its road assets, and they received huge interest. I believe 10x or 11x was the oversubscription, and we are expecting it to list at around 10.5, 11% of yield. And these are road assets which still have some risk because of traffic risk, and I'm sure in case of solar, we'll be able to achieve something similar. So, but then again, in case of InvIT, you need 1 or 2 years of operational history, and then only you can spun it off into an InvIT. So maybe next year we'll be ready for InvIT. This is a real good financing option which will channelize money from those people, unit holders, for whom 10.5 post-tax is a very good return. And for us also 10.5% money will be a real good one. Now this is a typical cash flow where people like us will become sponsor, and we will, and there will be an InvIT where we will give our all projects, developed projects with 1 year operational history, and sell it off, and then the unit holders will invest in the units. And all the project SPVs will be owned by Infrastructure Investment Trust. The rules are pretty clear. And now with IRB having done one thing, the market is also very clear. So we expect this to really boom. Many other infrastructure projects will be getting into this. So this InvIT will help us in getting 10.5%, 11% money. And then only these numbers, I don't know how bidders have been able to do at 244, and so they must be having even better investment project financing ideas. So I believe that only when we do these kind of instruments, we'll be able to bring the cost of debt as well as cost of equity to a level to match 244 or even lower. And so these were some of the ideas which we are exploring, which we wanted to share to you. And on transmission side, we have experience of 2 of them, in which we don't have any experience. We are attempting to do something next year. So we just wanted to bring to you these 3 ideas. And thank you. And I again thank MSFEI to give me an opportunity to present our ideas in front of you. And I am sure with constant interactions of this kind, players like us will get more ideas how to reduce our, this is how it happens. But nonetheless, still in last 5-6 years, it has proved that the bidders are always right, and they have made a correct choice, and they have been able to execute the project, and nobody has failed till date to execute a project. So with these words, I would like to thank again for giving me opportunity, and these are the some of the visuals. Actually, our 648 megawatt plant is the world's largest solar plant, and it has also been listed as a mega structure by National Geographic Channel, and there was a 45-minute program on this. It is also available on YouTube. And on the right-hand side, we are showing you the Google Earth image before and after. So you will be able to see that in less than 1 year. I mean, although this is 25 February 2014, even in 2015 we didn't have anything. So in less than 1 year we could do this entire big plant. And then another in Punjab we did 100 megawatt of single axis tracker, which is the largest single axis tracker plant as of date. And so these are our credentials. Thank you very much.
A round of applause one more time for that acceptance of that request.
I would like to add one thing, that earlier, these programs were made to go abroad, to look at the larger capacity projects, Topaz or something. Now we are sitting here in 640 here. It's the world's largest, so definitely all should see.
Yeah. Sir, I think this would be a proud privilege for all of us to be there and carry the message back. And some of us probably should bring along with the people who are aspirants in this industry also. Because as I remember Mr. Modi, the Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji saying that these are the modern sun temples of the modern India. So we would definitely like to visit, and I really invite any one of you also. So kind of you, sir, so kind of you. So we'll call it a solar mission trip or a tree retreat or whatever, and I invite all of you to join in that as well.
This has been my plan for quite some time, that so many of our members are doing so well, and not everyone knows what they are doing. For instance, Shakti Pump, similarly, there are quite a few who have done marvelous work in their own field. Solar has really generated innovative entrepreneurship, if not innovative finance. So we can, one after the other, or even in Delhi, we can have every month meet the member. That will be member of the month.
Great. So innovative ideas to top up the innovative financing. We will probably take them forward also. I think 2-3 key important takeaways that this falling tariffs and achieving them will continuously happen on the back of this innovative financing that we are talking about. And I think today's conference or aggregation in that sense is a step towards that, catalyzing the minds for more and more ideas. And as he rightly, and as Jayant rightly brought out, that not only does InvIT help in actually delivering, I would say, further more equity, a top-up equity, as also the return of debt, which ensures that your other projects get financed better by the banks because they are actually getting their debt back. And other products that they have tried already, the US dollar bonds, the green bonds, or in the transmission company, the masala bond. Sir, let me welcome Mr. Malay Mukherjee also, who has just joined us, the former MD of IFCI. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Surabhi is also here from World Bank. Dr. Garg is already there. Other friends from Yes Bank and Tata Cleantech, they are all here. And Dr. J.P. Dua, the former CMD of Allahabad Bank, who's also there right behind Mr. Malay Mukherjee. They're all known to each other, senior bankers. We're very proud to be here with you, sir. So, I think very well said, sir. And one important thing which also Jayant Parimal brought out was the need and importance of credit enhancement, which is a very important tool, and probably we will discuss in the next session a little more in detail as part of our effort on that side. So with that, let me come to the most emerging opportunity, or I would say, I recall being part of a presentation which I always rub upon is when McKinsey came and made a presentation on disruptive technologies to a state called Gujarat, and they brought out that some of these key ideas will actually disrupt the future. One of them was about this distributed energy, or as we know it as solar rooftop. I remember discussing around 5 years or maybe 5 years at least. I remember discussing it with a gentleman called Sanjeev Aggarwal. He used to run a company called M+. I was very impressed that he's already thinking about rooftops at a time when we were only focused on what is known as a large solar projects financing. And I told him that this is what McKinsey says, and that's why I believe in it. Incidentally, my son was actually doing his training at McKinsey at that point of time. And Sanjeev has actually built a company in distributed energy, a formidable one with around 112 megawatt under his belt already, and heading for more. I know him as a very, very patient executioner, an ever-smiling person, and he's a mechanical engineer and an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. He has been recognized variously as a young leader by FICCI and others, and also he's received various awards of CEO Award by Finance Monthlies. Please join me in welcoming the CEO and MD of Amplus Solar, Sanjeev Aggarwal.
Share something more from the experiences, how we thought about the whole idea, and I know you may say that now people talk about rooftop solar, but I think still the focus is on the utility scale. Nobody is really, it's still like also running and trying to do whatever we can do on the solar side, because honestly what we believe is the distributed solar is the real form of solar energy. It may not be likened to most people here, but unfortunately that's the form of the solar which is most widely used across the world. You can go to any country and the people have cited here the examples of US, China and everywhere else. And you will find that probably the energy, the way solar is being installed is coming largely from solar, in fact from the distributed side rooftop. In fact, once we asked probably the Joint Secretary and the Secretary at MNRE about how this split of 100 gigawatt into 60 gigawatt and 40 gigawatt came around. And I don't think there is any real science, maybe sir, you may be industry in the energy industry that we are faced with in India. One is about the land aspect. Normally, we consider land as a premium, and I have worked for 20 years in power sector with on large coal plants, gas plants, hydro plants. And what I've seen, the challenge in the coal plants was always about the land acquisition. So I'm actually a little intrigued that how are we really coming out with this thousands of acres of land suddenly for the solar plants, while for the thermal power plants we always found it a big challenge. So that's one of the questions, and how we are going to continue to do that to find out thousands of acres to set up that thing. The second challenge that is probably a little bit comparable is about the transmission line. Again, the transmission line was a big challenge. The transmission line power grid has to build, who has to plan it, it's going to be 3-year planning, it's going to be 4-year planning, 5-year planning. And now we see solar plants coming up in 6 months to 1 year. We have a fantastic plant of Parimal, 650 megawatt. Again, intrigues me how the transmission line of 1000 megawatt will be built up over the same 1 year when we are struggling with the thermal projects to set up the same line. The third thing which comes to my mind is about the creditworthiness. It has been topic discussed forever about the utilities, whether the utilities are really in a position to pay for all this power. It's great that the pricing of the solar is to such an extent that's lower than the coal, but unfortunately we can't wish away coal. So we have to live with both now. So that's again a good problem to have. So I think with that, these types of things which we realize, I think that the distributed solar probably makes much more sense when we are generating power without using any additional land, without using any additional transmission, and directly to the customer. So we take care of all the problems at one go, and this is something which is widely used. But the challenges remain in terms of financing. That's where I come to the main topic about the innovative financing which is being talked about. The financing is both equity and debt. If you look at the equity side, the investor, what do they really like is about the of the cash flows. What people want to see that there is a certainty about the cash flows, and once we have signed the contract, we should get it. Hinged on the fact that there is going to be a certain cash flow which will come out year after year. That's where all this low-cost financing are coming. Whether you look at the pension funds, we very proudly say about the private equity funds and the pension funds from Canada and all. But what are they really looking for? If they want 6%, 8% or whatever, 10% returns, they want it to be certain. So that becomes an important point, how certain these cash flows are. So that's the equity's first requirement. Particularly if you look at the foreign investment agencies, what people and policy certainty. So what people don't want is that once I have set up the plant, once I have invested in something, I don't want government to go back and change the rules. So some of the things which people are noticing now with the past bids, that okay, I bid 2 years back, but the PPA is not signed. So does that instill a lot of confidence among those investors? So that's another point which people look at. No, sorry. But that's the fact. That's the fact of the matter, and I said, okay, fine, we'll find some other way. I went to Mr. Pogli. Sorry, sir, all of you are still on the right, so I can't help you. So, he said, yeah, very good idea, good idea. Let me send our people, they will evaluate it. And they evaluated for 6 months, and we couldn't find anything. So we went to Reliance Capital, they were nice people. So they understood and they gave it a high cost, but fine, they gave the money. So we were able to actually bankroll the system and develop it to that extent where we were implementing 2 megawatt of rooftops, and we went around the market and talked to the private equity funds. I Squared Capital, which is our main investor, they committed $150 million into the company. They bought the idea that this is something which can be done. And fortunately, over the last 2 years, from 2 megawatt, we have been able to cross 120 megawatt, selling all to commercial industrial customers. We have customers like Walmart, Metro, Halliburton, Domino's, Fortis, Intel, Delhi Metro, ABB, Honeywell, Honda. So these are all good quality customers. The benefit or the comfort that we get is that today the corporate sector is looking at this segment as something which is their duty. So they want to adopt renewable energy. They want to say, okay, I am willing to take an extra step and buy this renewable energy for long term. That gives us a lot of confidence that this is a growth segment. that gives us a lot of confidence to our investors that this is something which is a growth segment and we must try to promote it. And then comes the responsibility from the government perspective, and I must congratulate SECI in a lot of work which has been done in streamlining the processes, and we have worked also along with the team at MNRE and SECI to put in our part of the effort to participate in the tenders, in the CPWD tenders, HAL tender, and now the government buildings tender. But obviously the market is changing extremely fast, and it's important that SECI and MNRE also bring that up to speed. One of the challenges that we face is in the states is about the net metering. So net metering is one particular problem that we are normally faced. Apart from the delays, what I have failed to understand is why there is an artificial cap of 1 megawatt on net metering in most of the states. It doesn't make sense. If I, as a user, I am using 10 megawatt, you can put the cap as my connected demand, but you can't put a 1 megawatt of artificial cap on net metering. And to that extent, actually, Uttar Pradesh has been a very good state. They don't have any cap on the net metering. We have set up a 4 megawatt plant at Yamaha rooftop, and it's net metered. So the power flows back on Sundays and it's used there. But many other states, actually every other state, we face the cap of net metering of maximum 1 megawatt. Some states are 250 kilowatt. And there are many people from Gujarat here. And Gujarat, we operate in 20 states. Unfortunately, no plant in Gujarat. And this is surprising. We are very developed and very advanced state in terms of policy and all. But there are no third-party PPAs allowed in Gujarat for rooftop. Unfortunate, but that's the fact of the matter.
Correct.
Right, sir. Yeah. Right. So we have a plant which we acquired from Sun Edison, which is on the Gandhinagar buildings, but sells power to torrent power. But if you want to set up for industrial users, and if you want a net metering, that's not a possibility. That's what we are aware and it to be corrected. I think the way I look at the energy markets are going through a complete transition, and it's imperative for all the incumbent utilities and the players to figure out how this market is going to develop. There is a clear integration which is happening on the renewable, the storage, the electric vehicle, energy market, where people have to look at all these things in entirety and not in isolation. Whether you call it solar, we can't look at solar alone. We have to look at solar plus some form of storage. We can't look at solar alone. We have to look at solar plus gas if you want to operate in the utility segment. There has to be a balancing market now.